Good morning. Today on Spotlight, a celebration of Black History Month from two very different perspectives. Up first, why the more than 100-year-old Scarab Club has finally opened its doors to its first all-Black exhibition, and what lies ahead for the club, its future, and its artists. We'll ask Mariuka Wofick, Board President, Mary Ann Wilkinson, Executive Director, and Donna Jackson, artist, studio owner, and curator of the All Black exhibition. And later on our Sunday morning program, Action News reporter Andrea Isom will take us inside a preview of her upcoming roundtable with a group of Detroit area African American men. What she learned in her very candid conversation, and she'll share it with us. It's Sunday, February the 21st. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Ladies, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today on Spotlight. Ms. Wofick, I'm going to give you the very first question. You have a history-making exhibition. I understand it's history-making. Why? What makes it that?
Well, it's history-making because this is the first time that we have had an exhibition of all Black artists for Black History Month at the Scarab Club. So we're very excited to be hosting that this month.
All right, was that tough to do?
Well,
you had to twist a few arms?
Well, I think that this year, after what went on last year and discussions that we've had as an organization with the board and the rest of us, we decided that this is something that should happen this year. And so I think that everything kind of came together for it to happen for this February.
Sure. Okay, you've also made a little history. We're going to get to that in just a second. But before we do, Ms. Wilkinson, you're executive director and you have been with the Scarab Club, I understand, for a good little bit. So you've seen this transition. Talk a little bit about the Scarab Club, its history, which is over 100 years old, and what brings you to this point.
Well, as people may not realize, the Scarab Club was founded in 1907, and it was founded by a bunch of advertising executives and artists who wanted a place to hang out and have fun, and it was a club.
Sure.
And over the years, things have changed so that it's become more and more a place for artists, more and more a place where artists can come and meet each other, see each other. We've lost that sense of exclusivity, I think, that was part of the Scarab Club in the early years. But we hadn't had a show that featured Black History Month ever. And I think our new impetus towards really embracing the community and showing to people that we are a really important part of Detroit's rich artist community was what spurred us to do what we did.
Yeah, being reflective and reactionary to a very diverse city in very interesting times. Donna Jackson, you've been on this program before. You wear a lot of different hats. You're an artist, you have an artistic studio, but you're the curator of this exhibit. Tell me about this exhibit in honor, so to speak, or at least in name of Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, of course, historic and great sociologist, first African-American sociologist to get his PhD from Harvard University. Talk a little bit about this exhibit and what people will see.
The exhibit is actually named after a book written by W.E.B. Du Bois, essays, Souls of Black Folk. And going back to last summer, not only the unrest, but also COVID giving us a chance to reflect. And for me, having a chance to go back and do reading more and more and rereading Souls of Black Folk, it brought me to this place to, what you read quotes and this one quote about the double consciousness that Black people were living in during W.E.B.'s time. And now that really hit hard for me that I'm still living that 100 years after the fact. So just having this opportunity to take just that quote and take the words of W.E.B. and bringing it to fruition in this kind of visual way into the Scarab Club has been like a phenomenal thing. It's happening just at the right moment.
Donna, these are all Detroit artists, some very experienced, some new emerging artists?
Yes, all Detroit, all Detroit artists.
100%, okay.
100%. And yes, their experience is across the board. And I think that's very important because the story of Blackness is across the board when it comes to experience. So I think that will be seen on the walls when you come in and look at this exhibit.
Because there's been so much interest in this show, and it's such an important show for the Scarab Club, we're extending it until March the 20th.
Oh, great. Very good.
Yeah.
Gives people more time. All right, it's open to the public. Mm-hmm. Even during the pandemic, you just got to follow all of the COVID-19 rules and regulations for social distance and safety, correct?
Exactly.
All right.
We're open to the public Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5.
All right, let me take a little break. We want to come back and we want to continue our conversation with these three women representing the city of Detroit. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ms. Rofik, you are the first African-American board president of the Scarab Club. What is it you want to accomplish in that role for today and maybe lay the groundwork for the future?
Well, first off, I'd like to say that the Scarab Club has been a place that has welcomed everyone for many, many years. And so when I first walked in 10 years ago, just as an artist to attend some programming that was there, I felt welcomed, continued to come, and here I am today, you know, as the president of the board. And this says a lot about the Scarab Club and who they already are or were even before I ever walked in the door. But as for right now, one thing that I want to be sure that we do is to continue with intentionality to target our audiences in a way that we are relating to the community, that we do have programming that is welcomed by the community, that is understood, and that they can really grab a hold of. And this is something that we've been doing for a number of years. This is my third year as board president, and Marianne Wilkinson, in her role as well, has been very thoughtful about choosing jurors for our shows, been very thoughtful as far as choosing board members that are diverse, reflect the diversity of the community. And so also we have a diversity committee that is made up of David Rudolph, one of our board members, Francis Pavlovics, a former board member, and myself. We are working on our own diversity policy for the club.
Donna Jackson, you referred to The Souls of Black Folks by Dr. Du Bois, a great literary work and certainly historic. One of the things that I saw on the website as part of this display was the quote that he had, to be a poor man is hard, but to be a poor race in a land of dollars is the very bottom of hardships. When you translate that to today and artists, how difficult has the fight been to make sure that African-American artists and other artists of color have been able to get their exhibitions into mainstream places?
The representation of Black artists of color is minuscule compared to those of their white counterparts. And that's just you're really looking at the state of our society on those walls. So I feel like once we really look at the state of society and change that, it will also change what happens when it comes to representation of art in museums and in galleries and those kind of things. The more women, the more people of color that become on that wall, the more balanced and the more equitable that will be.
Sure. Ms. Wilkinson, you have all kind of displays throughout the year and exhibitions at the Scarab Club. As you're going forward, what does the future hold? If you're interested in art and you know about the history of the Scarab Club, what can we look forward to?
Well, we have a great slate of exhibitions this year. The next one after this one is our all media, all community juried show that is a memorial to Gilda Snowden, one of the most wonderful artists in our community that we lost too early. That is being juried by another local artist, Tylon Sawyer. After that, we have a juried show of photography from the community. After that, we have a show of Halal Metropolis with artists from the greater Dearborn area. Many of them are Arab American artists, so that will be really quite a wonderful show too. And in the fall, and this is also an exclusive, we are having a show with Shirley Woodson, who just won the Kresge Eminent Artist Award.
Very good. Donna Jackson, you get the last question in the little bit of time that we have left. How did you pull all these artists together? Roughly how many different artists are there? Because I think I saw a laundry list of artists there.
So there are 19 artists, including myself. I call myself an art stalker. So I literally do this thing where I keep a running list, a database where I see art and I love it and I keep their names in the database. And then just having friends that are artists. So that all of these different pieces finally came together where I could do this exhibition at the Scarab Club. So my art stalking and my friends and my love of art, that's how this came about.
All right, very good. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight. We're glad that you have this exhibition smack dab in the city of Detroit in the new center area. We encourage everybody to get out there and see it. And as Ms. Wilkinson said earlier, they've expanded the time that it's going to be there, so we don't have any excuses not to be able to get down there. All right. Thank you so much, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And when Spotlight returns, I'll talk to a colleague of mine, Andrea Isom, about another Black History Month topic, a conversation that she's had with African American men. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to Spotlight. Joining me now is my colleague and my friend, Andrea Isom. You see her on Channel 7 Action News. It is so good to see you again. I just wish I could see you in person. You know, we can't see each other in person these days, but you still look great. You doing well?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Chuck. I feel the same way. I'd love to give you a big hug, but it's virtual.
All right, we'll make it all virtual here. You've been involved in a project. It's called Black Men in America Roundtable. What is this and when will we see it?
Well, you will see it on Thursday, and it is powerful. It started out talking about Black History Month, what it means to some men, a group of men in Metro Detroit from different age groups, different backgrounds, and then it veered off. And we started talking about some really personal things. And I asked them all a question that most of them have never been asked before, what it feels like to be a Black man in America. And it was emotional. It is emotional. It gives me chills just thinking about it. Right now, I'm still getting footage and pictures of all of them throughout their journeys in life. And I can put those pictures with the stories that they told me. It is so powerful and impactful and honest and real. And I think it's one of those questions that all people may be curious about and don't know who to ask or if it's appropriate. Well, these men are pouring their hearts and lives out to you and explaining what it's like to be them every day, especially now.
Life, just being an African-American male, it just hardens you. It's the feeling that you always have to have this tougher exterior.
Being a Black man, diasporic African man in America, it first and foremost feels like being foreign. It feels like being a foreign agent.
You know, you're expected to be strong, but not intimidating.
How much of this was fueled by what we've just seen with the Black Lives Matter movement and all of these sensitive issues and talking about racial equity and inclusion in our society?
Chuck, I think it was just so timely. I think that it was a question that was top of mind for me and a lot of other people. There are people now that have been exposed to things they've never seen before that have happened to Black people and most notably Black men. And there are a lot of questions, concerns. Obviously, we all know about the civil unrest and the change people want to see happen. And these men, for them, I can say this was sort of like a therapy. They don't get a lot of opportunities to open up and be honest and vulnerable and even tearful when they talk about their daily experiences. Because oftentimes you wear a mask and you just go about your daily life, but there's so much internally. And there's a lot of pain there with stereotypes and the things that are happening in the day-to-day lives and the fears and things associated with being a Black man every day. And these men were so willing and courageous and brave to do this on camera, and they want people to see it. They're excited about hoping that it starts a dialogue, you know, and that more people start having these conversations, and not just with Black people or Black men, but with all people. So we can really start understanding one another and really talking with one another and understanding how valuable we all are.
And you don't even know anymore who you are, you know, what you are, and even if you wanted to, how to reveal that.
To me, it's kind of like being a juggler, right? You have to juggle so many different things about yourself as well as the world, and show yourself as, oh, he's a good Black man, you know, as opposed to the narratives that they're seeing on TV.
Being viewed as a harm or a threat to society, because I'm constantly aware that that is what's been projected on me and my brothers from the moment that we come out of our mom. We are a threat, we are a menace to society, and it becomes a burden of ours.
You have to be constantly aware of the way that you carry yourself so that you don't come off as scary. Being Black is very difficult in a place where, quite honestly, a lot of people don't want you there. This country was built on the backs of Black people, Black men.
We shouldn't feel like a foreigner in our country.
I hope it starts a dialogue. I really hope that people start talking about all of us and what we mean to the society, and being inclusive, like truly inclusive and accepting.
Right, because bridging that gap always starts with a dialogue and a conversation. We're going to take a real quick break. I'll come right back with some more questions. Stay with us. Andrea, this is going to be on Channel 7 Action News, but also on the web. Is that correct? WXYZ.com?
That is correct. So Thursday at 6 p.m., you're going to get kind of a preview of the entire story, but then you will be able to see the entire piece, the entire roundtable at WXYZ.com, also on our Facebook page, Roku, and all your favorite streaming devices. So it's going to be there for everyone to see, and I hope people really do take it in and take some time to really be open-minded and listen and learn. That's what it's all about. You know, if we really take the time to listen to one another and learn from one another, the impact that can have is going to be, you know, insurmountable.
The only thing I can liken it to being a Black man is that we are a highly volatile manager on a tightrope with no net, 100-yard dash at the start with the rest of the world with a 90-yard lead.
That says an awful lot about our society and how some African-American men feel about their place in society and what they're up against to be able to achieve.
Yeah. For a lot of the men, they kind of liken this to what that gentleman, which is Derek, said is like the pressure, constant pressure, and being up against it every day and just maneuvering through that. And honestly, sometimes not even knowing how you're doing it. Kind of your feet just kind of are going and you're running this race. Sometimes you don't even know how you're getting to the finish line or if you're even getting there. But an incredible amount of pressure and fear that I don't think a lot of people understand that a lot of Black men do have daily in their daily lives. And these men kind of put that in perspective for you so people can really understand what that's like in a very layman, very just plain way, so that if people were confused or really didn't understand some of the pressures and fears that many Black men have, these men so graciously and bravely explain that and make it really easy to understand.
We're sitting in Black History Month, and we know that Black History Month is not just for people of color, it's for everyone because it opens up their world if they're truly interested in learning about the people that they have to interact with in society. But if you're not African American or someone of color, why should they watch this?
Because we're all one. You know, I think most of us say we want to live up to the Constitution where everyone's created equal and we're all under the same umbrella of America. We're all here. We all have to live amongst one another. And I think we need to really understand each other. And I think it goes beyond race. And this isn't just for Black people or Black men. This is truly for everybody. And when the men started talking, that was very evident in how they expressed it and why and the way they talked about things, because they want people to understand and not just people who look like them. Because a lot of times, you know, people that are familiar with you, you can understand, you know, the perspective and where you're coming from. But these men are delivering this to you so that if you don't look like them and you don't walk in their shoes, that you can understand what it feels like if you did.
Well, I'm glad that you put this together. I'm glad that the public will have a chance to see it. Thank you for taking the time and the effort, because I know these things are not easy putting together. It's a lot of hard work out there, and we want to thank the men who you sat down with for their honesty and for opening up in a very public way. That's real important. Andrea Isom, thank you so much. Make sure that you watch this report. It's coming up on Thursday. It will also be on WXYZ.com and all of our various mobile app platforms. Have a great day, and you stay safe, okay?
Thank you, Chuck. You as well.
All right, good talking to you. And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.